Getting better at it, so. Okay. Okay.
We have a TV on or something? Here's something in the background. Maybe not.
Oh, it's my TV. I gotta go turn it off. Sorry.
Okay.
The whole place is out of control here.
Thank you, Bud. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we will call the May 17th, 2021 meeting of City Council to order. Please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Byerly.
Here.
Councilmember Conklin.
Here.
Councilmember Missouri.
Here.
Councilmember Mincer.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Yep.
Councilmember Stevenson. Mayor Long.
Here. Public comments. Do we have any public comments today?
I did not have any that were brought to me, Your Honor.
Okay. Correspondence. 5A1. Appointments to the Recreation and Parks Board.
Mr. Mayor, should we approach the minutes from last meeting?
I missed that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Acceptance to or correction of the minutes for April 19th meeting.
I move accepted.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. I'm in such a hurry, you know. Steve isn't here. I'm all befuddled. It's too much. Okay, so appointments to the Recreation and Parks Board.
This is back to the Director of Community Life, points 1, 2, and 3 under A.
So I have two residents requesting to become board members of the Recreation and Parks Committee for the city. We have Michael Hafley of 509 East Bald Eagle Street and Blake Cohen of 823 Bellefonte Avenue. And this falls under the goal and strategy of Destination Lock Haven comprehensive plan of enhancing outdoor parks, public spaces, and outdoor venues by reimagining public spaces and outdoor venues to reflect the interests, culture, and identity of the community. And then under the same goal and strategy, we have Sheena Hanley requesting the use of Zindel Park on June 12th through 13th of 2021 for their rehearsal and their wedding. I'll work with them to ensure the rules and regulations are followed, as well as notify the watershed manager and the Wayne Township of the land use. And then the Clinton County LGBTQ Network is requesting to paint the stop bars of Grove and Vesper Streets on either side of Main Street with the colors of the LGBTQ pride flag. I have provided a mock-up of what that will look like. It will not be in the crosswalk. It will be at the stop, right at the stop sign doing the stop bar. And that also follows the same goal and strategy of Destination Lock Haven. And I'll work with the Public Works Department and the Director of Public Works and to ensure that we don't violate PennDOT's rules of right-of-ways. And this would be temporary paint as well. And this would be for the month of June.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion for all three, or do we want to address them separately?
I'll make a motion to approve all three requests.
And I'll second that motion.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. Do I have any questions or comments on the motion? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 5B, Keystone Central Summer Park Programs.
This is an exciting letter that we received, and it details from Keystone Central that in the city of Lock Haven, the parks at Hoberman, Jack Bailey, which is at Hammermill, and Piper Harmon, there will be Monday to Friday summer park programs from 9:30 to noon, starting June 14th and running through August 6th. So it's great to see that back up and running.
It is indeed. I see Comcast quarterly franchise fee.
This is included so that the minutes reflect the receipt of $17,460.56 for this quarter's franchise fee under the agreement with Comcast.
Do we have any other correspondence?
I had none, Your Honor.
Okay. Unfinished business. 6A, consideration of the award of the agreement for the purchase of unleaded and diesel fuel.
We actually had several different RFPs or bids come in over the last period since the previous council. So that is the first, which is unleaded and diesel fuel. I'll let the Director of Public Works speak to this and the other two when we're prepared to act on those.
Good evening, everyone. We opened up the fuel bid RFQ. The current low was Nittany Oil Company, and they are currently also the city supplier of this commodity. It's my recommendation to approve an award to Nittany Oil Company, and we'll get that contract ready to go.
What's the wish of council? Did someone say something and I missed it?
I'll move approval of the bid.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. I thought maybe I was talking over a motion, so thank you for, yeah. Any question or comment on the motion?
How do the prices look, Tony? Are they similar to what we've been sitting at?
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
All right.
And we opened up before the oil crisis last week. That was good too.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Thanks.
We aren't putting any of that in plastic bags and hauling in the back of a car, are we? Okay, so we have the questions, comments taken care of. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6B, consideration of the award of the bid for polymer and aluminum sulfate.
Okay, we also opened bids for the polymers and aluminum sulfate for the wastewater treatment plant. This product helps break down the solids and runs the plant efficiently through its processing. The polymer bid, low bid was Polutech in the amount of $1.23 per pound. And the aluminum sulfate was US Alco for $1.09 per gallon. It's my recommendation to approve it to these two suppliers.
What's the wish of council?
I'll move the bids for the polymers and aluminum sulfate, item 6B.
Second.
Motion to the floor in a second. Any further questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6C, consideration of the award of the agreement for City Hall cleaning services.
All right, this is the rebid for the City Hall cleaning services. We received the same low bidder, APCS, in the amount of $25.74 per month, or $30,000 or $30,888 per year. This is a lower amount than the previous bid that we just did 2 months ago. My recommendation is to approve the APCS, who is also the current City Hall cleaning service provider.
This dollar amount, I will add, is more in line with the amount that was budgeted this year.
Greg, I'm sorry, yeah, I wanted, Greg, just for conversation, and I know part of the process is time and people not being willing to do it, but does this come close to what we would pay an individual for this on staff, or would the benefits outweigh that price?
We are nearing the threshold to where outsourcing this does not make sense anymore.
Yeah, okay, all right, just I kind of got a hunch when I saw that bid, so, all right.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any further questions or comments? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
yes,
Councilmember Morris,
What did I do? Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6E, consideration of resolution, no, 6D. Consideration of resolution 2021-17.
This is an amendment to the emergency declaration that was originally passed on March 18th. Several incarnations of that have taken place over the period of more than a year. And this would be the most recent update to that. To boil it down in a nutshell, visitors to City Hall and city facilities would still be required to wear masks unless they can provide documentation to show that they have been vaccinated. The City Council can continue under the Pennsylvania Emergency Declaration to meet by remote video conference. It can also choose to meet in council chambers if it so chooses. And the same with the city's authorities, boards, and commissions, which are also welcome to meet by video conference as well. And the city's guarded entryway is reopened again to the public, and members of the public do need an appointment to get inside beyond the guard. But we, of course, are willing to make those appointments. The Second Avenue garage is open again for residents to drop off yard waste, but they do need to wear a mask for their safety and or the safety of others. The wastewater treatment plant is now and has always been by appointment only. We don't get a lot of walk-in visitors there. And all the city parks and fields and outdoor common play areas, anyone using those spaces has to go by the guidance of the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Commission. The city does own the Ross Library facility, and this would just direct that any recommendations for the library's operations need to follow the State Library of Pennsylvania guidance. The city owns Station Gallery, again, a facility owned by the city. The Pennsylvania Historic and Museum Commission and the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts recommendations must be followed. And it does provide that any employee who is fully vaccinated under a policy that was issued today, which is clarified in here, that's a request of council to me, is to issue this policy. Any fully vaccinated employee may choose to not wear a mask while at work, whether inside or out. However, there is certainly nothing wrong with continuing to wear a mask, especially when you are unsure of the people that you are around, and whether or not they have all been vaccinated or not. So employees may make that choice. Any employee who has not been vaccinated will have to continue to wear a mask at all times while on the clock.
Do I have a motion?
I have a question in regards to the Pennsylvania Parks and Recreations Commission guidance. I know we probably could look that up, but can you give us like a brief highlight of what that is?
I don't know if brief is possible, but it's like a 50-page document, but it is very, very user-friendly and easy. And it describes every kind of outdoor recreation you can possibly think of and gives a guidance on that. So it's what we've used throughout the pandemic is that guidance. I think last year it was updated 2 or 3 times. So it'll say their recommendation for sports fields, let's say last year, was that if you have a concession stand, only prepackaged food should be served, and that prepackaged food shouldn't be touched by anyone at the concession stand, only the customer should touch that. So those are the kind of recommendations you find in there, but it's for organized and unorganized outdoor play. It also has guidance for use of the amphitheater, for example, for the city, use of the levee. I mean, really anything you can imagine, but Casey does have a copy of that and does provide that to everyone who has an interest in having a function in the park. And the director of community life is who I mean when I say Casey, is able to forward anyone a copy of that in PDF format who's interested in having one. You can just reach out to her at kcampbell@lockhavenpa.gov.
So briefly, and I know it probably isn't briefly, but like with the parks program being open back up to the kids, what's that going to look like for them if they choose to attend one of the park programs in the morning?
That would actually fall under the jurisdiction of an educational program of Keystone Central, which would supersede the Parks and Rec guidance. If the city were to be doing the park program, Keystone Central, of course, has always been in charge of it, which makes it an educational program. If the city were to be doing it, our park guidance is that we should not do large groups of organized events. And so we would have probably a different take on that program. Schools are right now at a much better place of being equipped of dealing with children in a confined space, whether indoors or out. And so they do have their own guidance for that they'll follow.
I'd like to move resolution 2021-17.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 6E, consideration of resolution 2021-18.
This is a reimbursement resolution for qualifying expenses. If the city were to enter into 2021 notes for borrowing, this would enable any of the expenses following this adoption to be reimbursed from that borrowing. And the city's bond counsel of Eckert Siemens, Jen Karen, is here to talk a little bit about that and answer any questions that anyone may have. So
Yes, good evening. Hi,
Good evening.
good evening. I'm Jennifer Karen from the law firm of Eckert Siemens in Harrisburg, serving as your bond counsel. As Greg mentioned, this resolution is what we refer to as a reimbursement resolution. It serves the purpose of recognizing the Internal Revenue Code's rules and regulations on reimbursement with respect to tax exempt obligations. So essentially, this resolution will set forth the declaration of intent for the city to be able to reimburse any expenditures made towards the capital project until such time as the financing is closed. So that would include any type of expenditures for engineering or construction. And essentially, adoption of this resolution starts the 60-day look-back period for any type of expenditures that were made for the project, and then provides that flexibility moving forward as you incur expenses and expenditures with respect to your capital project. So that's essentially the reason for the resolution. We do encourage our clients who are contemplating capital projects to adopt this. It just provides the flexibility if the city would like to have any expenses reimbursed. I do want to make the point that this does not bind you to any financing. It does not serve as any type of incurrence of debt or authorization of debt. As you are probably aware, any type of incurrence of debt would follow by way of a separate ordinance that we would prepare pursuant to the Local Government Unit Debt Act. So just wanted to clarify that. And with that explanation, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Questions for Jen? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor in a second. Any further questions on this motion? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Thank you, Jen. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a
Jen.
nice evening.
Joe, we
You as well.
Bye-bye.
Aye. Okay, 6F, consideration of ordinance number 2021, second reading, 2021-02, excuse me.
This is the second reading of an ordinance amending the city code, chapter 340, which is garbage and refuse, and chapter 386, vehicles, junk and abandoned, of the city of Lock Haven to mirror the violation enforcement as it appears in chapter 194, brush, grass, and weeds. Again, a lot of words. Basically, it just makes for uniform enforcement of these three chapters, each of which had its own variety of enforcement. And so this will make it much easier for the public to understand the enforcement process for each of these types of violations.
What's the wish of council?
I move the second reading.
I'll second.
Motion floor and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. We have any other unfinished business?
I had none, Your Honor.
Okay, new business. 7A, consideration of request to bid for landscaping services.
This does not have a sheet in your council packet. I will let the Director of Public Works explain the necessity of this, though.
Okay, we are currently in our third year and final year with Dad's Landscaping for the mowing contract. Last week, we were told that they are having staffing issues and are unable to continue with their mowing schedule. So we are requesting that we rebid this and see where we're at. I don't know how. I'm assuming that with them having staffing issues, that they've lost other work. So I'm assuming that other landscaping companies have picked up their work. So I'm hopeful to see some good bids come in. If not, Jared Gist, public property foreman, has leveraged his way into taking back the parks.
He has an idea for how.
Yeah, yeah, he has an idea.
We're discussing that tomorrow, but
I'd still like to see this rebid and see where we are at with some local contractors. I think it was just last month, Greg, somebody reached out to both of us asking to put us on the next list for the next contract for bidding.
Right.
So we'll definitely get a hold of them and some other companies.
Okay. So what's the wish of council?
I'll move the request to reopen that bid. Rebid.
Second.
Motion floor and a second. Any further comments or questions?
Just one.
I have a
Go
question.
ahead, Barb.
Do we have a contract with Dad's Landscaping? We've entered into an agreement with them for the lawn care,
Correct.
that's correct.
and they're backing out of it?
That's correct.
Okay. Just
Rick?
wanted to confirm that was, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And,
Rick?
and
Is there a penalty?
Richard, Rick has the floor.
Tony, just from my understanding, does this include Penny Park, and does it include any of the reservoirs?
It does not include the reservoirs. It is all of the other parks, Petty Park, Triangle Park,
Okay.
the Civil War Memorial, all
Yep.
of that. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Richard?
I was just wondering if there was a penalty for backing out of the contract.
There is in the severability clause, there are different options that the city is able to pursue, and we'll look at those.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Okay, 7B, consideration of the resignation of Lock Haven City Health Officer.
So Patty Jones who's a registered nurse, has been the health officer working in conjunction with the city's Board of Health since 2009. In 2007, I believe it was, the city turned over health licensing for restaurants to the Department of Agriculture, which is who does the rest of the county. And subsequently, the health officer now inspects and gives a certificate to each of the tattoo parlors that are located within the municipality, which is, I think, 3 or 4 right now. And so Patty is resigning her, I'm all phlegmed up at the moment. Patty is resigning her position, and we will need to pursue, once council accepts her resignation, pursue another candidate for the position, and we will draw upon Patty's expertise in helping to select the appropriate person for that.
Okay, what's the wish of council?
I move to accept her resignation and thank her for her years of service to the community.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion or comment?
Other than I wish we didn't have to accept her resignation, but I guess if she's not going to be working after the end of December or before, then I guess that's our job.
Yeah. Okay, call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 7C, consideration of resolution 2021-19 to reapply for funding for the Fallon Alley and Parklet project.
This is, as I said to the mayor earlier tonight, not new business, but boomerang business. So you did approve this earlier. However, this is a reapplication for the same funding source. And so I'll let the director of, the city planner answer any questions you may have, but it is the same funding package as before.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. So as Greg mentioned, we are just reapplying for the Fallon Alley Parklet project. Last year, we applied around this time during COVID, and I was able to get the support of local businesses, some local businesses, and bring together a project that was about $35,000. This year, the prices have increased, and the estimated budget is $38,500. Of that, the city will be responsible for a match of 15%, which is $5,775. The Parklet project will be the same scope as last year, so we'll be resurfacing the alleyway and taking back that squared off portion behind Main Street Grill, making that into an outdoor dining area with a fence, lights, and just branding up that alley, making it a safe gateway between the Water Street parking lot and the Main Street Business District.
What's the wish of council?
I move the request for the grant, or the request for the
Second.
resolution, excuse me.
I'll second
Second.
that.
Oh,
All right, so we have a motion by Bill for two different things, but I think he sorted it out. And a second by two different people, but I think Rick got it first. So
They are both named Richard, though.
that's true. That's
No.
true.
We could combine it.
Any further questions or comments?
Yeah, I have one question, and this technically, I guess, would end up back on the city manager's desk. But if the grant is not awarded, what's the likelihood that we could move ahead with this anyway?
I can look at that
Okay.
and see if that could fall into capital fund somehow. I don't disagree with everyone on council that something does need to be done to improve that space. This is the most advantageous way forward.
Yeah.
But if we do not get that, we could certainly examine that as part of the capital finances the council sets aside every year.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes,
Councilmember Morris,
yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 7D, consideration of resolution 2021-20 allocating the remaining funds from the 2017 Community Development Block Grant.
And I'll let the city planner again address this.
Yeah, so there's a resolution in front of you today for a budget revision to the Hammer Mill Rehabilitation Project of the 2017 CDBG program. This Hammer Mill is nearly complete. There are a couple invoices to wrap up, but this moves the remaining funds in that project to the East Water Street paving project. The reason it's moving to that project is so we can spend it right away and close that program out as soon as possible before the expend date.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move the resolution.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Byerly,
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri,
Yes.
Councilmember Mincer,
Yes,
Councilmember Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 7E, my favorite topic, Sunset Pines Stormwater Project update.
Before we jump into that exciting topic, I do want to say for 2 years, as much as I hem and hawed behind the scenes and yelled and screamed about how much money Hammer Mill was costing, the city planner and her sidekick, the director of community life, did a lot of input and labor themselves. And in the end, they had $6,365 left over. So I guess that it didn't go over budget and spend all that money anyway, but they did a lot of effort themselves, and a lot of city staff helped with planting the vegetation and doing a lot of the work up there. So I really, really appreciate everything they did. I think we have a phenomenal park for the money that we spent. And every time there seems something to be a little bit wrong, then Jared and his crew are running up there and filling in divots and holes and reseeding and making sure that it's one of the best looking parks in our community, which is great. So thanks to all.
It's done a great job. It's been very responsive to the questions or concerns, and thank you. Thank you for all that you did.
Now on to an update of Sunset Pines from the Director of Public Works.
Okay, just this afternoon, I had a phone call with our engineer, Gwen Dobson Foreman. The surveyors were up there today to tie in the construction aspect of the feasibility study that we had out the last 2 years that HRG completed for us. They plan to be surveying for the next month, and then they will be putting together a bid package for the first phase of the project.
And Tony, when does Gwynn Dobson and Foreman expect that construction may begin? Is that this fall?
They're hoping this fall. It just depends on how they tie in their survey and design work. They might have to push it till spring, but they at least want to get it bid this fall or this late summer.
How does that compare to our original timeline?
It is, I'm pulling up the emails right now. The design aspect was for 2021 with a fall construction. So we're right on schedule if they can get it out here in time.
Okay. So far we haven't gotten behind, even though it feels that way many times, but we are on the path that we started.
Right.
Okay.
Since we have the Director of Public Works here as well, if anyone has any questions about East Water Street or about Spring or Fourth, then you could bend his ear now as well.
I'll give you an update here real quick. They milled Water Street today. I'll be out tomorrow morning to gather quantities. They're going to do their base repairs and scratch coating and then move to Spring and Fourth tomorrow to start the milling there. They plan on beginning paving on Water Street on Wednesday. And then if that doesn't take all day, they'll move to Spring Fourth. But if that does take all day, they'll move on Thursday to Spring and Fourth.
So they intend to pave all of Water in one day, Tony?
They have it planned, yes.
Okay.
Yep. They're going to do basically from Clark's Barn to Grant. They'll pull that first. They'll pull both sides of the road, and then they'll pull from Grant to J Street, then finish that out for the day.
Are they, will the road be totally closed during that time? How will that work?
That's what I'll be talking with them tomorrow. It's wide enough where we can allow traffic through there. And that's why we try to maintain today with the milling. It just depends with the truck traffic and everything. I'll be speaking with their project superintendent tomorrow to discuss if they need anything closed. No, we can't let people drive on or motorists drive on the new asphalt until it's cooled down. But once they make one pass that one side of the road and they come back to do the other, that should be cool enough to drive on.
Okay. And all the property owners down that way have been notified of what to expect with all this?
Correct. I think we sent a letter out 2 weeks ago. And then I think, Joel, you should have received one too 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I had questions about Water Street. At least one property owner down there questioned me, and I wasn't certain whether they had gotten anything or how it was working, because they seemed to be unaware.
Anyone who lives on Water Street all the way down to Clark's Barn Road, including going down Clark's Barn Road, if they are a water or sewer customer, that's where we retrieved the mailing addresses from, the names of businesses and mailing addresses.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions for the Public Works Director? You got him here. It's your big chance. Jump on it.
Well, is it just for those streets that are being indicated?
Any question at all?
Okay, I have. Well, first off, let me thank him and his crew, all of his crew, for the work they've done at doing repair of potholes or small areas. Even I've seen done very small areas. So I want to thank them for all that. I'd also want to thank them for the great job they've done on. And this is the second time I've mentioned it, but it was additional work on pruning and trimming. It's just a great job. The trees are much better than I've seen them in a long time. So I'm happy about that. My question, and this, I don't know if this is only on Tony's desk, but Tony, is that on the project that the state is okay, let me use the word wasting money on moving light standards and making it necessary for us to move fire hydrants. When will the restoration be done, and will it be a full restoration with curb and paving?
They will be replacing the oh boy. Let me pull that up real
The
quick.
ramps, I mean,
Yeah, they're going to be replacing the ramps,
Yeah.
and the curbing. The curbing will be done too with that, and then asphalt in front. Is that for restoration you mean, or you mean like the final paving of 150 through town?
no. I just meant that people won't be walking across gravel to get from place to place. Plus, we have brick that needs replaced, which is a big deal. But where some fire hydrants have had to be moved.
Right.
But and I use the word wasting facetiously, but when I look at the project and think of everything else in the state that needs done, moving those poles 5 to 10 feet seems to be, to me, just seems like a waste. I don't know what lawsuit forced this, but I'm sure it was a lawsuit somewhere that forced it.
Probably.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Tony, thank you as always. We appreciate everything that the guys are doing. As Rick said, you can definitely see a difference in the city of Lock Haven in many ways of the way things are being maintained right now. So we appreciate it from you all the way down to the laborers, because they're all part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other new business?
I had none, Your Honor.
Anything else to bring before council? Mr. Menser.
Yes, I sent Greg and Joel a note today, and it's with a heavy heart that I've decided to resign from city council due to some responsibilities and stuff in my expanded role at Penn State. And I want to thank the city and council for your trust and faith in me and electing me in 2019, and as city council for nominating me for an open seat at the time in 2018. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you, and it's been a distinct pleasure to represent the city as well. And I hope you wish for all your success. And if I can ever be of service in some way at some point in some time down in the future, even as a private citizen, I'd be more than happy to do that. So thank you.
Well, that is incredibly bad news. And when does that become effective, Bill?
Tomorrow.
Oh, really? Don't we get 2 weeks notice before?
I think it's 2 weeks before the next council meeting.
Okay.
So
we need a motion to accept his resignation. I suppose we could always not vote to accept it. But, someone want to make a motion?
Well,
since someone wants to accept it.
Since it has to be made, I suppose it falls to me to make it. But Bill, I do it with a very heavy heart.
And I will second it, but Bill, I agree, and you've brought a personal and new perspective and community involvement to the board, and thank you so much for your time. But I insist that you every once in a while you contact me on Zoom so that I can have this view of you.
We have a motion on the floor, a second. Any further questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Byerly.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Reluctantly, yes.
Councilmember Mincer.
I'm going to vote yes.
Councilmember Morris.
I'm very tempted to vote no, but let's do it. Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes, but it doesn't mean I'm still not going to call you every morning and hassle you. So, all right. Any other things to bring before council? If it's anything else negative, Greg, I'm coming down to your house.
No, I have to speak on the formality reluctantly regarding the vacancy under section 10-801 of the third class city code. A resignation of a council member begins a 30-day time period during which council may appoint a replacement at a public meeting. The motion to appoint must be adopted by the majority of council's remaining member, meaning 4 council members have to affirmatively confirm. The advertisement for the vacancy will be sent out this week, and then we'll advertise it for 2 more weeks. There are approximately 15 days between now and the next council meeting, which will enable people who have an interest in submitting a letter of intent to my office. Those will be assembled together and presented to council prior to the June 7th meeting, at which council will take up interviewing those candidates and asking them questions in order to begin the process of making a decision on who the next person to fill the seat that Bill Mintzer holds will be. I will not say a replacement for Bill Mintzer, because if anyone is irreplaceable, it is among those that are like Bill Mintzer. So that is the formality of the process. If any member of the public has any questions, they can email me at manager@lockhavenpa.gov.
Okay. So you don't need a motion to go ahead and do that, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Richard.
Thank
See you next time.